your friend Antonio, Elon, who had some good advice for me, and then introduced me to you. You had some great advice. And then I figured, I heard about this clubhouse, and this has got to be part of the simulation. So I just thought, why not? So here I am. So I'm actually an adherent to the simulation hypothesis.
All right. Well, spill the beans, man. What happened last week? Why do you stop people? Why can people buy GameStop shares? The people demand an answer, and they want to know the details and the truth.
Yep. Okay, so let me start by giving a little bit of background. So I'm the chief executive of Robinhood. Robinhood is actually I'll go through this quickly. Don't worry. This is important. It's actually a couple of companies. So there's an introducing broker dealer called Robinhood Financial, and that basically is the app that you know and love. It processes trades. You're a customer of Robinhood Financial. Then there's a clearing broker dealer, Robinhood Securities, that clears and settles the trades. And then we have Robinhood Crypto, which is our crypto business. All of these are
three companies and
entities that are differently operated. So basically Wednesday of last week, we just had, unprecedented volume, unprecedented load on the system. A lot of these, so-called meme stocks were, going viral on social media, and people were joining Robinhood, and there was a lot of net buy activity on them, as you guys all know. And Robinhood at this time, I think, was number one on the iOS App Store, and pretty close, if not number one, on Google Play as well. So just unprecedented activity. And so Thursday morning, right? So I'm sleeping, but at 3:30 a.m. Pacific, our operations team receives a file from the NSCC, which is the National Securities Clearing Corporation. So basically, as a clearing broker, and this is where Robinhood Securities comes in, we have to put up money to the NSCC based on some factors, including things like the volatility of the trading activity, concentration into certain securities, and this is the equities business. So it's based on stock trading and not options trading or anything else. So they give us a file with a deposit, and the request was around $3 billion, which is, about an order of magnitude more than what it typically is, right? So
no, why was that so high? Like, this seems like it sounds like this is an unprecedented increase in demand for capital. What formula did they use to calculate that?
Well, why was it so high?
Yeah, and just to give context, Robinhood up until that point has raised, a little bit, around $2 billion in total venture capital up until now. So it's a big number. Like $3 billion is a large number, right? So basically the details are, we don't have the full details. It's a little bit of an opaque formula, but there's a component called the VAR of it, which is value at risk. And that's based on kind of some fairly quantitative things, although it's not fully transparent. So there are ways to reverse engineer it, but it's not kind of publicly shared. And then there's a special component, which is discretionary. So that kind of acts as a multiplier. And basically discretionary meaning like it's just their opinion. Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, I'm sure there's definitely more than just their opinion, but basically,
well, I mean, I guess like
it's based on growth.
What everyone wants to know is like, did something maybe shady go down here? Like it's like seems weird that you'd get a sudden $10 billion demand. $3 billion in the morning. Sorry, how much?
Yeah, it was $3 billion US.
$3 billion. Okay, there's $3 billion.
$3 billion
around.
just suddenly out of nowhere.
Out of thin air.
What percentage of that
I wouldn't impute shadiness to it or anything like that. And actually, the NSCC was reasonable subsequent to this, and they worked with us to actually lower it. So it was unprecedented activity. I don't have the full context about what was going on in the NSCC to make these calculations, but essentially
is anyone
large number.
holding you hostage right now?
No, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. But anyway, so this was obviously nerve-wracking, and I actually was asleep at this point. The operations team was fielding this at 3:00, and then we got back, we put our heads together. Our chief operating officer basically said, "Look, let's call up the higher ups at the NSCC and kind of figure out what's going on. Maybe there's some way we can work with them." And basically, there was another call, and they lowered it to something like $1.4 billion from $3 billion. So, we were making some progress, right? And then, but it's still a high number. And then we basically proposed, well, let's explain how we plan to, let's explain how, we'll manage risk in these symbols throughout the day. We proposed marking these volatile stocks that were kind of driving the activity, position closing only. And then at about an hour before market open, so 5:30 or 5 in the morning, they came back and they said, okay, the charge or the deposit's $700 million, which we then deposited and paid promptly, and then everything was fine. So that essentially explains why we had to mark these symbols position closing only, and also why we knew this was a bad outcome for customers. Part of what's been really difficult is Robinhood stands for democratizing access to stocks, and we want to give people the access. So that's been very, very challenging. But we had no choice in this case. We had to conform to our regulatory capital requirements, and so the team did what they could to make sure we were available for customers.
Who controls this organization, this clearinghouse?
It's a consortium. It's not quite a government agency. I don't really know the details of all of that.
Okay.
But and to be fair, like we were I think there was legitimate sort of turmoil in the markets. Like, these are unprecedented events with these meme stocks, and there was a lot of activity. So there probably is some amount of extra risk in the system that warrants higher requirements. So it's not entirely unreasonable. But we did operational processes to make sure that customers that had positions could sell their open positions, because obviously restricting someone, we got a lot of questions about, okay, you had to restrict buying, why didn't you also restrict selling? And the fact of the matter is, people get really pissed off if they're holding stock and they want to sell it. And
exactly.
Right. So I think that's categorically worse. So, and lots of other brokers
don't want to be called holding stock when you want to sell it.
Robinhood was in the news, but you sort of heard this industry wide, right? Other brokers basically restricted the same exact activity.
All right, so it sounds like this organization, calls you up and they basically have a gun to your head, either hand over this money or else. And so, because basically what people are wondering is did you sell your clients down the river, or do you have no choice? And if you had no choice, that's understandable. But then, we got to find out why you had no choice, and who are these people that are saying you have no choice?
Right. Who are they?
Yeah. I think that's fair. We have to comply with these requirements. Financial institutions have requirements. the formula behind these requirements. I think it would obviously be ideal if there was a little bit more transparency, so we could plan better around that. But to be fair, we were able to open and serve our customers, and 24 hours later, our team raised over $1 billion in capital, so that when we did open, when we do open tomorrow morning, we'll be able to kind of relax the stringent position limits that we put on these securities on Friday.
Will there be any limits?
Well, I think there's always going to be some theoretical limit. Like, we don't have infinite capital, right? And on Friday there were limits. So there's always going to have to be some limit. I think the question is, will the limits be high enough to the point where they won't impact 99.9+% of customers. So someone were to deposit $100 billion and decide to trade in one stock like that wouldn't be possible.
All right. Well, I guess people really just want to know, if you had no choice, then you had no choice. It's gun to the head situation. And then that's understandable. But then whoever put that gun to your head should, be willing to answer to the public.
Yeah, listen, and I know there's processes. This is unprecedented times, and to be fair to those guys, they've been reasonable. So we are. I think the one thing that is maybe not clear to people is Robinhood is a participant in the financial system, so we have to work with all of these counterparties. So we do get a lot of questions about, why do you work with market makers? Why do you work with clearing houses? Vertically integrating and getting, it's hard enough to build introducing a clearing broker-dealer. Not too many people have done that, but the financial system that allows customers to trade shares is sort of a complex web of multiple parties, and it's hard to. Everyone says, "Oh, it could be better. It could be improved." It's just a necessity of trading equities in the U.S. that you have to do all these things.
To what degree are you beholden to Citadel? Basically, if Citadel's unhappy, then what happens?
Yeah, so that there was a rumor that Citadel or other market makers kind of pressured us into doing this, and that's just false, right? Market makers execute our trades. They execute trades of every broker dealer. This was a clearinghouse. This was a clearinghouse decision, and it was just based on the capital requirements. So, from our perspective, Citadel and other market makers weren't involved in that.
But wouldn't they have a strong say in who got put in charge of that organization, since it's an industry consortium, not a government consortium, or not a government regulatory agency?
I don't have any reason to believe that. I think that's just like, then you're getting into kind of the conspiracy theories a little bit. So I just have no reason to believe that that's the case,
Okay. All right. Well, I guess so we'll see what happens with future actions. Hopefully that was insightful or at least a little bit entertaining. Are you not entertained?
Wow. So first of all,
that's crazy. So the XRPs is holding at a support level now. Or someone just said Uphold has XRP available now. That's very interesting. They said Uphold never stopped selling the XRP. But what happened is Robinhood was used at a rate where they felt they had to stop it because people just signed up to Robinhood. And once they signed up, they did that. And then they bought large quantities. Robinhood ruined the whole thing. It's not their fault. They got overwhelmed by outside greedy people who used it as an opportunity to sign up and use Robinhood as the app that they wanted to do the crime with. The CEO of it had no idea what was going on. Didn't you hear him? He sounded lost as could be. They had to call some of the guys. Some of the higher ups just to see what was going on. Oh, Dogecoin. I think everybody's like happy about this new Dogecoin thing with Elon. Yeah, your $8 is now going to $11. Way to go. Dogecoin. Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, I'm not dealing with Dogecoin. Get in, get some money, and get out. You're not going to make any money on Dogecoin. until it went up 800% because Elon Musk is driving it up. Dogecoin drips 600%. This is just to get everybody whipped into a frenzy. That's that initial using social media to build something where everybody rushes into it, which will drive it up, and then it's going to come crashing down. My advice is go back and listen to the videos or go on the Cash App, Casino for Life Cash App, and get caught up. Oh, and everything I told you guys about Robinhood and Acorns and everything else when you first started. People got that GameStop fever. Yeah, they want another one of those GameStops. When they had AMC, and AMC stock was doing better than AMC, the company. All right, here we go. If he's an alien trying to get back to his home planet, he is a weirdo. No doubt about that. Plant versus Charlo. Bum versus bum. I'm going to go with Caleb Plant because I can't stand Charlo. So Another Heyman versus Heyman fight. AOC. I mean, last week he fought a guy that's shot. They both named Caleb. They both from Minnesota. I ain't know who was who. Ah, I'm good. David over Charlo. Anybody over Charlo. So Stephen Perry said delete it. They're gonna pass it soon, very soon. It should have been passed already. I don't know why they dragging their feet on this, but they're quick to, alleviate place that's gonna let transgenders into the military. That was more important than relief. I don't understand. No, I don't think Bud would go to PBC. He'll do fights over there, but I think he'll just remain an independent fighter if he does decide to leave when his contract expires. I really don't know. That's a very good question. And you know what the answer is to this very good question that you just asked? There's no money in it. I can make more money sitting down right here and less headaches. Sitting right here, right now, doing exactly what I'm doing. Yes, sir. Well, I hope to. We have friends of the family that's going to be performing with The Weeknd on stage, dancing. I wasn't intending on doing it, but I guess I could do it. I don't know, Walt. That's why I had to put the video out about an hour ago about Floyd. 7 rules of life. Let it go. Ignore them. Give it time. Don't compare. Stay calm. It's on you. Smile. Yeah, the rules of being a lame. Somebody said, yo, I'm late. I mean, I have a great relationship with a lot of promoters, and a lot of them lose money. You have to really be sick in the head to want to be a boxing promoter. There's really no money in it. I've seen people who were inspired to be boxing promoters and become boxing promoters, and they're out of the business. You saw 50 Cent, how he lost money being a boxing promoter, lost millions. Other people, they don't have the luxury of doing that. They don't have that kind of money going into it. And what you're basically doing is losing your money. Fifty got into Bellator. He went into a whole lot of different things, but being a boxing promoter, all it takes is getting a license, and that's nothing. You can easily get that for cheap. So what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a situation. Putting yourself in a situation where it's not ideal for you. Yeah, it's not ideal sometimes. I've seen a lot of promoters go broke. Lou DiBella, I've seen him basically lose all his top fighters, the whole nine. Brady resting up for the bowl. I see Tom after the bowl's over. I got to get ready for my 40-yard dash. You heard me? Yeah, it's a classic. Nice and relaxed. All right. Well, no more questions. Then I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Should there be a salary cap? Yes. Certain sports aren't built like that, where you can just pay whoever, whatever. It tips the hat so far to one side. And salary cap was meant to limit teams from overloading players. And now you can see that they're overloading players and they're paying the luxury tax on that. Teams are just to compete, they're eating it. So now you're seeing this year the NBA got more teams paying the luxury tax. So we'll see what happens down the road. Samsung is good. Sony's good. You can get the Sony HDMI 2.1. Those TVs are good. The LG is probably the best one. But any of those televisions are good. I mean, the eye can't really even pick up all of the things that they have out now. So, with that being said, am I against a $500 million contract? If somebody can afford to pay someone $500 million a season, then by all means, do it. But you're not going to have I don't think there's a $500 million player in the league in any sport. Anyway, I'm out.